So there's not many carpology videos I can get away with starting flaked out on a sofa, but this video is a little bit different. So you might have gathered from that montage that I am currently on a holiday park, and I'm at Hoburne Holiday Park, which is located in the Cotswolds. And for this weekend, I've got access to one of their lodges, and I brought my girlfriend along. So we're gonna have a weekend away, but also do a bit of fishing as well. So firstly, I'm gonna show you the lodge, and I'll drop in a load of clips because it is a very nice place to stay. And obviously you can book these for the duration you want to be here for, really. And with the lodges, you get free fishing as well. So as soon as you've booked this lodge, then you can get down the lakes, and there's some really good lakes to go at. There's 3 different lakes to choose from. One of them is almost split into 2 lakes, but they're connected by a pipe. And one of them has got some very big fish. I think they've all got decent fish, but in particular, the main lake, I think it's got a couple of 50s at the right time of the year. So Curly actually came down last week and he spoke to Paul Ashton, who's the head bailiff. He got all the information about the lakes. So I'll drop that in after this bit. And yeah, there's a lot to go at. So it's definitely well worth coming down and obviously doing a bit of fishing. But I think the plan of attack for me today is I'm going to have a nice chilled one today. And after this, I'm going to head down to the 2 smaller lakes, or slightly easier lakes, have a good look round, almost do a bit of a recce for tomorrow. And I'm going to fish one of them tomorrow for the duration of the day. It's days only fishing here, so I can get there at 8 o'clock, and I think you can fish through till 10 o'clock at night. So you can have a good day's fishing, but there's no nights on the complex whatsoever. But this evening, I'm going to go down to the main lake. So the main lake is actually split into 2 parts, this time of year anyway. There's about 1/3 of it that you can fish during the days, and you can't fish the other 2/3 because there's pedlos and things like that. But at 6 o'clock, the whole lake is then possible to fish. Again, you can only fish it till 10, but the fish seem to reside down that end, and they've been showing there a lot over the last few weeks, according to Paul. So the plan is a bit of a chilled out day, have a good look round, come back here, have a barbecue. So we'll have a nice barbecue in the afternoon and get down the lake for 6 o'clock and have 4 hours trying to catch one of these big Cotswold carp. But for now, I'm going to pass you over to what Curly filmed the other day, where it's Paul explaining a little bit about the complex and about what you can expect to find in each of the lakes.
Okay, hello, my name's Paul Ashton. I'm the Maintenance and Grounds Manager here at Hoburne Cotswolds. We're talking about the lakes today that are available on site. Open to anybody who comes on holiday or owns a holiday home. Behind me we have the lake known as the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲 Lake, approximately 5 acres. 5.5 acres, an old gravel pit that was stocked 20 years ago. Carp run to approximately 50 pound in here. It looks like we've got 2 currently hitting that mark just before spawning. It's about 5.5 foot deep in most of the lake. Shallows up towards the top end, towards the clubhouse. We're open down the bottom end of the lake for most of the day, on the far bank of the lake after 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. Very good angling in here. A lot of carp, a lot of tench, with a lot of jackpike, perch, a lot of roach and rudd. The carp go very big in here. We're open from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. There's no night fishing on any of the lakes, purely because we are a holiday park and a lot of owners come here to relax and rest and enjoy the time with their children. We have 3 other lakes on site. Mallard Lake, there's 2 there, which are interlinked, approximately 1 acre each. Good stock of carp in there, and tench again, a few bream, roach, rudd again, pike. Heavily stocked Mallard Lake. Again, approximately 5 foot deep, lots of lily pads, pretty lake. Run on to Kingfisher Lake, which is the top lake. Again, stock of carp to approximately 25 pound. Some bream, tench, pike, perch again, and lots of silvers to go for. The lakes are open to any style of angler, from match fishing to pleasure fishing to the serious carp angler. All the lakes are accessible, very close by, accessible for disabled. We have a maintenance schedule in place run by AE Fisheries. Andrew and his team do a fantastic job looking after the lakes, and it's coming on leaps and bounds over the past 6-9 months since I've taken over. The lake's been fished by a lot of well-known carp anglers. We had Ollie Davis recently visit us, Terry Hearn last year, Hassan, all done really well on the complex. Open to everybody who likes to come along and join us and come and stay with us on holiday or part of the ownership team. We're open to most types of anglers, from the inexperienced to the very good carp anglers. We're always here to help. I've got several guys on the team that come round and help the younger anglers or the inexperienced. We have the tackle shop just over the road. My son works there and he's a wealth of knowledge of the carp fishing on site. But if you want to join us, come and ask us questions. The rules are available in reception for anybody wanting to come along. Come and enjoy yourself. It's a family park and we'd love to see you fishing here with us.
We've just had a good old walk around the lakes and we went over to Kingfisher and Mallard, which are the ones a little bit further away from us, and they're meant to be the slightly easier ones. We did see a couple of fish as well, and it's very clear, very weedy, but the fish looked really cool, nice scaly ones. So not sure about whether to head there tomorrow or whether to head to the main lake, because the chance of a 50 is a little bit too appealing. But now we've got back and it's time for a bit of a barbecue. It's ridiculously hot. We actually drove over to the other lakes. It's only about half a mile, so it's easily walking distance from where we are, but because it's so hot, we thought we'd drive. And it's at 29 degrees in the van, so yeah, barbecue and then get down the lake when it's a little bit cooler, and we can actually fish a bit more of it. So have a good old wander around, see if we can find anything, and then obviously try and catch something. But first, it's time for gin and a barbecue.
It's raining.
I know.
We need to come on.
Get in if you want.
Yeah, right, fine.
Quick! Can you...
No, that's not a problem.
I thought a summer barbecue would be nice. I mean, all I can say is I'm glad we've got an oven so we can finish it off inside. But I'm a little bit moist at the moment, not gonna lie. So that barbecue was a complete fail. We managed to finish off the food in the end in the oven, and I have now got myself down the lake. It's just gone 6 o'clock. It's about 6:30 actually. It's a little bit later than what I wanted, but this area where I am now, you can fish after 6 o'clock, but only up until 10 o'clock. And this has been a recommended area by the Bailiff. Apparently just beyond me, there's a nice gravel bar, which is actually fairly clean compared to all the weed around it. So I'm gonna get a couple of rods made up. Just gonna put leads on for now, make sure I can actually fill that bar before I actually commit to anything, because with such a limited time, I wanna make sure that I'm doing one cast with the actual rig, and I wanna know that it's actually sitting properly. So I'm gonna get myself a bit sorted, get the rods out, and I think tomorrow I'm going to come back down here. Obviously I can't fish this bit because you can only fish about 1/3 of the lake during the day, so I'm going to head down that way, see how I get on, and then potentially stay a bit later and then move back down this way after 6 o'clock if this is the spot. So yeah, exciting, but I've only got a few hours, so I've got to get going really. So I'm pretty sure I've just found the spot, and it does feel very nice and clean. It's not overly deep. Probably only about 4 foot or something, but as soon as it lands I can pull it back. It feels nice and clear, so I'm just going to ping this out now, just show you. Literally bang in the middle of that clear area, and then when I reel back and you can feel it just tapping, and then it pulls into much thicker weed. So that is the spot. And I'm debating whether just to put one rod on it, literally just have one out. But then if it does fall into a little bit of weed and it's not sitting properly, it's a massive wasted opportunity. So I think I'll get the first one out. If it gives me enough room to put a second, then I'll get the second as well. So I'm going to wrap it out so I know exactly where I'm heading with it. I'll see how the first one goes and then choose from there as to whether to put a second out or not. I might just have a very quick underarm and just see if I can ping one along the left-hand side instead. That pulls into quite a bit of weed there. But if I can get away with a second one just around there, then I've got only one line actually go into that spot. Nah, pretty solid with weed. So if I can, I'm going to get two on that spot, I think. Let's do it. So bait and tactic wise, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Got a little heli set up, and then I'm just going to put little mesh bags over the top of the hook bait that I'm using, which is going to be a little boosted hard 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 hook bait. And yeah, just a tiny mesh bag of pellet. I'm literally using little 3mm pellets just to try and get them grubbing about. There's obviously a lot of weed and sediment and bits and pieces out there, so again, this will just help a little bit to actually make the rig sit how I want it to, because it's just something masking the hook on the way down, so it's not going to get caught in anything. And then what I'm going to do with that is just drip a bit of the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 liquid over it. Where my scissors gone? So then it's got a load of attraction as it's sitting there, because obviously I need to try and get quite a quick bite. And spoke to a regular. I don't think he lives on site, but he holidays here quite a bit, and he's had a few 40s out of here. So not only is there that massive one, there is some good fish that back it up. And he said quite often you end up with a bite at about 10 to 10. So literally as you've got to be reeling in, you end up with a last minute bite. So I'm going to have to hang it out until the last minute in the hope that it does happen. But yeah, it's quite exciting fishing for some very big fish. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't think I've ever fished for a 50. Fished for 40s and had a few, but I've never fished for a 50 before, especially an English 50 as well. So I almost can't tie all this stuff up quick enough. So let's get these all sorted. I'm going to aim for 2. I'm going to try my best to get 2 out on that spot. It is only small, but like I said earlier, the last thing I want to do is find out that at 10 o'clock I'm reeling in, it hasn't been sitting how I wanted it to. So let's get these out there as quickly and hopefully efficiently as possible. So both rods are now out. The first one I marked up was actually 12.5 wraps. That's 10-foot wraps, so it's a little bit shorter than that. And that went out really nicely, but it went fairly central to the spot, and I didn't want to keep messing about just to fit another rod on. So I ended up having a very quick lead about with my other rod, and that spot seems to come back to about 11 wraps as well. So managed to get 11 wraps slightly to the left, so I've got both rods in the area. I've put a little bit of bait in. Not a lot. Seagulls are a massive issue. I'm just baiting up with boilie as well, so I've been catapulting like literally a couple of catapults, and then the seagulls come back, and then I've put a couple more when they've gone, and so on and so forth. So there's probably 8 or 10 catapults out, and I'm just going to leave it at that. They should be presented. They've got a little mesh bag around them, little bag of pellet to get them grubbing about, and I have seen fish in the edge of that weed as well. So there's movement, there's fish there. I think the tench are quite active at the moment, so if a rod goes, there is a chance it could be a tench, but there's also the chance it could be a 40 or a 50, which is ridiculous to think. So I've literally got 2.5 hours till I've got to bring them in now. So yeah, not long at all. But after speaking to that regular, he said bite time seems to be 8 till 10 and normally at about 10 to 10. So yeah, I'm going to chill now, get a coffee on, and just keep an eye on everything. And I did have a little feel about in the margins, but it's so weedy everywhere. I don't think I'll be able to set anything properly, but I'm going to keep an eye out further down the lake as well, because obviously this bit I can't fish in the morning. So keep an eye out to see if I see anything down that way, to actually have a bit of an idea where to go first thing in the morning. But yeah, keep you updated. literally just had a bite on my left rod and it's taken me straight into the weed on the left, and it's just solid, but the fish is still there. I've put it back on the rest, let off a little bit of line, and then it's going to a certain point, but then it's not going any further, but then it's also not coming back out of the weed either. So I'm just waiting till it actually makes a substantial movement. So I've got no idea what this could be. It could be a tench, it could be a 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗲𝗄, or it could be something pushing 50 pound. So I don't want to just go overkill and end up pulling the hook, but I also don't want to lose it. I mean, I'm using micro barbed hooks, so there's a good chance it will stay on. I don't know, I think it is quite a hard lake, so it could be my only chance on here. But as soon as it gets a little bit of line, it's moving a bit, but obviously I don't want it getting further and further in the weed, so I don't think you can use any boats on here or anything like that to get them out. See if it's freed up at all. Yes, back in contact. Oh God. This is proper heart in mouth stuff. Like, I have absolutely no idea what this could be, but it has definitely got some strength to it. Come through the other line as well. I don't even care if I get this in. That's all that matters. No idea where he is. All I can see is just a massive clump of weed at the moment. So I don't know if he's in that main clump or if he's behind it somewhere, or... He's in it. Should have probably taken my shoes off first, but he is very, very cool. Well, that is a very, very cool carp. Probably one of the nicest I've ever caught. And I don't know the exact weight yet. It was 37.4 with the sling, and it's usually 3 or 4 pound for the sling. So he's a 30. I'll weigh the sling afterwards, but he is very cool. And yeah, a bit of a battle in the weed, but it's worth it when they look like this, isn't it? Right. Flip him around and show the other side. Very, very cool. So it's clear you don't have to compromise having a holiday in a lodge with subpar fishing, because when they're like this and catchable, that really makes it, doesn't it? Oh, let's get him back. Well, that was very, very unexpected. And I've just slipped him back, just reweighed the sling, and it was 4 pounds, so 33 pound 4 ounces. And yeah, he was super cool. Like, very, very, very cool. So I'm pretty content. I mean, I've got half hour or so left. until I've got to be off, so I'm not even bothered sitting it out. So I'm going to come back here tomorrow. Obviously, like I said earlier, I can't fish this bit, but that's kind of how my angling is. I'm not the sort of person that's like, oh, I must catch more and more and more and more. Something like that. It's job done for me. Like, that is a very cool fish. Didn't expect to catch anything like that. I knew there were cool ones in here, but I didn't expect to have one, and one of the proper ones as well. So yeah, I've made up. I'm gonna have an early night, and then yeah, I'm getting in first thing in the morning down the other end, and hopefully I can find a spot, and something like that comes along again. Yeah, crazy, but there's every chance, isn't there? Or bigger. So I think that's me done for the night, and I'll catch up with you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. I'm back down the lake, and apologies for it sounding like the mics are broken. They're definitely not. I've had a sore throat the whole time that I've been here, but I've been a warrior and not mentioned it. But today today and last night it kind of took over. So I've got a coffee on the go. Hopefully that's going to get me sorted, and hopefully I'll sound a bit more normal in the next piece that I do. But I'm back down here. I'm at the furthest point possible around the lake that you can fish, because like I say, this actually splits into about a third which is fishable during the day, and then 2/3 which is for the pedlos and the water activities and that sort of thing. So there's basically a row of floats across the lake which divides it. So I'm the furthest or the closest to the actual floats, and I've seen a few fish here this morning and bits of fizzing and things like that. So what I've done is I got here bang at 8 o'clock. That's when you can start fishing it from, and I've put 2 rods over fizzers. Now, I didn't film any of that at all because I wanted the best possible chance to catch something, so I thought I'm just going to get it straight out there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get myself all organised. If nothing's come from them fizzers, then I'm going to actually have a proper lead about, because it is weedy out there, and see if I can find a spot and actually get myself sorted properly for the day. But I thought, for the sake of half hour, it's well worth a try. So yeah, I'm going to get myself a bit sorted, and then we'll hatch a bit of a plan for the rest of the day. So the rods have been out over the 2 fizzers for about an hour now, and I've just brought one of them in. I've had a very quick lead about, and it is really, really weedy out there, but I have found a spot. Again, it's only a small spot in the weed, but it feels a lot clearer than any of the rest of the lake. It's only 5.5 wraps, and that's, like I said yesterday, only 10-foot wraps as well, so it's not far out at all. But it definitely felt nice. I didn't really feel much of a donk, but I pulled it back and I probably had about 3 foot worth of nice smooth, and then it pulled into thicker weed. I reckon it's maybe about 4 foot by 3 foot, so it is only small. I think if I'm super accurate, I can get 2 rods on it. So I'm going to get this first one out and see how that goes, and then go from there, whether I put the second rod onto it as well, or if I just think, no, that feels good with one rod, which I'm leaning towards. If I can find a spot more out to my right, then I'd rather that and keep the 2 rods separate. I feel like it's trying to get line lay and things like that is asking a lot on such a small spot, but it is only close. So if I can get it slightly to the right of the spot or slightly to the left, then in theory I can probably get a second on it. So I'm doing exactly the same as yesterday. So I've got just a little blowback rig with one of the boosted hardened hook baits and just a tiny bit of putty. I don't really need it, the sinking baits, but it's just something to, you've got a bit of movement and a little bit of putty. And then I'm just going to put on a bag of tiny pellets. I think they're like 1 to 2 mil pellets or something, so they are tiny. So that is the setup, and then I'm just going to give it a good dose of the sweet cream oil, just because I'm not going to be recasting those, I'm not going to be putting loads of bait out. I just want enough attraction to try and get that one bite. I'm going to catapult a few boilies over it, but again, I'll maybe 10-15 boilies, something like that. So it's just enough for a trap. If they pass through, then it's enough for them to get their heads down. The combination of a few boilies and then some pellet as well. Hopefully it'll lead to a bite, that's the plan. So let's get this first one out and then see if I can get the second out on the same spot. If not, make a new plan for the second rod. So the spot I found is actually lined up with that buoy. Like I said, it's only 5.5 wraps, So that is literally bang on it. And based on that, I'm just going to do the one rod on it. There's no point messing about trying to fit two on and then making things more difficult for yourself. I'd rather one rod be effective than two not being effective. Now the downside to having just one on that spot is that I've now got to try and find somewhere clear for this rod as well, which when clear spots are pretty hard to come by, it is far from ideal. But that actually had a little drop when it went down. Nope, straight into weed. God. Okay, so found a spot. It's definitely not clear, but it's clearer than a lot of the rest of the lake. I think there's some low-lying silkweed, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go with it for my second rod. It's 13.5 wraps. It's a bit more central in the lake. So let's get the bag sorted and get it out there. So I mentioned it earlier in the video, one of the perks of holiday park fishing and having a lodge is having that bit of comfort. So I think I'm going to admit defeat today. I'm feeling worse and worse and worse as this day's going on, and the thought of a nice hot bath is quite appealing. So yeah, I think I'm going to knock the fishing on the head. I'm going to go back, have a nice hot bath, and then I'll give you a quick run round the lodge so you can see what it's all about. I know I've dropped some clips in already, but I'll do you a quick walkthrough. And yeah, I'm still made up with that fish from yesterday. To think that you can come somewhere like this and with limited fishing time still catch very, very highly regarded fish and highly sought after fish is amazing. Like, and that's not even one of the big ones for this lake, and that's what makes it even more ridiculous. The amount of 30s that are in here, the amount of 40s, and the fact that they push 50 at the right time of year, to be able to do that whilst having a nice holiday with your family or your partner or whoever you choose to come with is ridiculous. But anyway, I'm going to have a slow pack up, leave the rods till last just in case. But I haven't seen loads of activity, so I'm not holding out too much hope, but slow pack up, get back to the lodge, and just try and recover a little bit. So I got back to the flat a little while ago and ended up having a shower. I don't feel any better for it whatsoever. So I think we're just going to wrap it up here and head back. It's about 2.5 hours back home. So yeah, I thought I'd show you a little bit around the apartment. So you have to bear with. So I move the camera, but this is the kitchen area. So you've got a full kitchen here, 4 gas burners, you've got an oven, a kettle, microwave, so pretty much everything you want. And then over this side you've got toaster, sink, you've even got a dishwasher, which you've got to sort, wrong cupboard, you've got a washing machine. So yeah, if you're here for a good amount of time, then you've pretty much got everything that you can possibly need. So if we go into the bedrooms, in here, this is I guess the master bedroom. And that's obviously where we've been staying. And then in here, you've also got an ensuite, so you've got a shower just built in here, which is quite handy. And then there's loads of wardrobe space, so you've got like mirrored wardrobes. So yeah, loads of room. If we come back through, there's also a spare bedroom. So it's like a twin room, so you've got a couple of beds. So if you've got like a family come in, then there's loads of room here. And then you've also got another wardrobe just around there as well. And then for that room, you've got this bathroom here. So it's not an ensuite, but it's still a very nice bathroom, and you've actually got a bath as well. So you've got the option to have a bath or have a shower. And then back through here, this is all the living area. So loads of room here, double sofa, you've got a little coffee table in the middle, and then you've got a dining area, so you can sit down and have some meals. And then if I just tone this down a bit, because that is massively overexposed, then coming out here, this is all the decking area, so you've got obviously enough room to then have barbecues and that sort of thing. And you can do barbecues on the decking if you've got a gas barbecue, but if you've got a coal one like us, then you just do it on the grass out the front, because you probably end up melting the plastic decking, which isn't really ideal. But yeah, that is a quick tour of the lodges. I'm sure there's different sized lodges, so if there's more of you, then obviously there's going to be more rooms and that kind of thing. But this is just the one that we've got, and like I mentioned earlier, you can actually buy these as well. So your best bet is having a look on the Hoburne website, Hoburne Holiday Park, and they have all the prices of the lodges to buy, but also lodges to rent and things like that. I'm sure it's kind of seasonal, so prices will differ throughout the year, and obviously whatever size lodge is, if you're having lakeside lodges or that sort of thing, that's all going to be on the website. So that's the best place to look for that sort of information. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for letting us down Hoburne and letting us have a lodge for a couple of nights and show the fishing and catch one of the amazing fish that resides in that main lake. Now, I'm a little bit gutted I didn't get to have a go on the other lakes as well, but maybe next time coming back we'll get one of them lakeside lodges on the smaller lakes and catch one of the slightly smaller fish, but they look nice and scaly in there anyway. So yeah, there's plenty to go for here, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we've definitely enjoyed being here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.